All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO Gym. And the QBO Gym is a place where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Every month we come out with new exercises for you to practice and complete, and we break it down for you into 4 different sections. Today we're working in the February Year 1 cardio section where we really focus on those basic skills. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what you will be doing for Craig this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive pre-assessment quiz. Below that are all of the exercises in this section. And at the bottom here, after you've completed all of these exercises, there is an optional area where you can use some of our sample posts on your LinkedIn to share with everybody what you have learned so far. So let's dive right in and practice entering and paying Craig's bills. Go ahead and click on the link to pull up the exercise. I have it over here on the right-hand side where we will follow along with as we are doing it. So let's see what our scenario will be today. You have received a $158 bill for plants that were delivered directly to the job site from Tanya's nursery and $255 for accounting services from Pam Seitz, who is Craig's CPA. Craig would like you to go ahead and pay Pam from the checking account, but he'll pay Tanya with the MasterCard. So let's see how to record these transactions. You will need to be in the same session of the sample company that you did the previous exercises in. If you have not completed those yet, go ahead and click on the link on the top right corner of your screen. That'll take you to the first exercise. Complete that one and all the ones after that until you get back to this one. They all build on each other, so it's really important to start with that first one. I have the sample company over here on the left-hand side of my screen. This is the sales center, and this is the last page that I left off of from the previous exercise. Specifically in the sales center, this is all of the invoices. So let's get started with the exercise. We'll start with Tanya's bill. For this one, Craig is paying it, so you will just need to record the bill and then record Craig's payment with the credit card. So to do this, we're going to click on the plus new button and then click on bill. The plus new button is up here on the top left corner of the screen. Click on that, and then under vendors, select bill. Now, once it comes up, we need to fill it out. In the vendor field, we're going to select Tanya's nursery. So click into it. Go ahead and start typing in Tanya to have her name pulled up. Once you find it, go ahead and click on her name. Her information is going to fill out here for you. Now, Craig does not track plants individually, so you'll need to use the category details grid, not the item details grid, for the whole bill. So there are 2 grids here. One is the category details and the other is the item details. If he's tracking the plants either for non-inventory or inventory, it would be in item details. There we go. Everything else is in the category details. So let's go ahead and start filling it out. In the category field, we're going to select plants and soil. So go ahead and click into that 2 times. You can start typing in plants and soil, or you can scroll down to find it. I'm going to scroll down because this is an expense account, and there are two accounts that are very similarly named plants and soil. One is an expense account and one is an income account. So I want to make sure that I definitely have the correct one. It would be under job expenses. If you're scrolling down, job expenses, job materials, plants and soil. This is the one that we want. Go ahead and click on it once you find it. Now, as an aside here, if in real life you have accounts that are named very, very similarly like this one, highly recommend changing it so that you can easily differentiate which one is which. So in the description field, we are going to type plants. So go ahead and do that. In the amount field, this was for $158. So let's go ahead and click into the amount box, type 158. When you head the tab key over, you see that QBO has updated what the total balance is. We're going to click on the black Save button, which is right here, down here. If you have any pop-ups, just go ahead and click out of them and just clear it out of the way. Go ahead and click on that black Save button. And when you do, it'll see that the bill has now been saved. So this has already been paid, so now we can mark it as paid. That is this one right here. Go ahead and click on that button. And now it is the bill payment transaction showing that the bill has been paid. We want to make sure that the bank credit account is showing as MasterCard, which it is. And so now we simply just need to save and close this one. So click on the green Save and Close button down in the bottom right corner. And now that bill has been entered and the bill payment has been recorded. Now, Craig has asked you to pay Pam's bill from the checking account. There are many ways to do this. Most common is to use Melio, which is the integrated bill payment system in QBO. With Melio, you can directly deposit the money into Pam's account. You would just need her routing and account number. You can also use Melio to mail her a check. So that's one way. Another way to do this would be to use the bill payment system provided by Craig's bank. Most banks have a bill pay option that allows you to direct deposit or mail a check. So that's another way. A third way, you could also use a separate cash payment app such as Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, or even manually write Pam a check and have Craig sign it. Finally, you can use QBO's check transaction to create a printable check. Though not used as often anymore, this last option is the one we're going to practice in this exercise. So when using a check to pay a bill, it's very important that you do not enter the bill first. This is a very common mistake. Entering the bill increases accounts payable, which is a liability. Entering the check also increases expenses, also a liability. So doing both results in duplicate liability, which affects the bottom line. So, what we are going to do instead of starting with a bill transaction like we did with Tanya's, we are going to directly go to the check transaction. So, we are going to click the plus new button and then click on check. So, once again, that plus new button on the top left corner, click on that. Under vendors, you're going to select check. When the transaction appears, we're going to go ahead and fill it out. In the payee field, select Pam's sites. So you can click into it and start typing her name, or you can start scrolling. Once you find her name, go ahead and click on it. When you do, her information is going to appear for you. Note that the checking account should already be selected as the bank account, which is perfect. Also note that the check number is only necessary at this point if you are handwriting the check. So for the purposes of this exercise, we're just going to ignore it, but just know that that's what those things need to be. So let's fill this out. In the category field, we're going to select accounting. So click into it and type accounting so that it comes up. That's this one right here. In the amount field, this is for $255. So go ahead and click into that, type 255. And now we want to click on print check. So that is right down here in the black bar. Go ahead and click on that. And that check transaction has been saved. And now we have been presented with this particular setup. This is going to take us next. You will be taken through a series of print checks setup screens before we can go on. So let's discuss each of these. All right, so this first screen here, this will allow you to select the type of checks you will be using. Order additional checks from Intuit and print a sample so that you can see what the check will look like and make any needed adjustments. Click view print or view click view preview and print sample to try it out. When finished, you can click no continue setup. So the view, preview, and print sample, that is right here. You can click on that to see what it is going to look like when it is printed. Obviously, this information is just not real information. There's no raw and sage. This is not what it will actually print. This is just showing you what it would look like when it is what we want printed on the check. So we're going to X out of this. Let's go ahead and click on No Continue Setup. So now we are on, let me make sure that I am on the correct screen. We are once again going to click on No Continue Setup. So go ahead and click on that one. If you printed a sample and the alignment just wasn't quite right, you can make the adjustments here in this particular page. Click View, Preview, and Print Sample to see how your adjustments are working if you needed to adjust further. That would be again down here. I don't know if you can see with my video screen, but that is down here. Once again, you can see what it will look like when it prints on the check. Here is how you would make adjustments if you need to make sure that it is filling in correctly as it's printed. We're going to click on Finish Setup, which is down here, and that is all done. So after finishing setup, you should be redirected to the print checks screen. If the sample company takes you back to this page, though, you can get to the print checks screen by following the steps below. So you're going to click on the plus new button once again, and then click on print checks. So that is up here on the top left corner, click on plus new. Under vendors, go ahead and select print checks. And once again, we are back to this screen that we had originally been on. The check for Pam is now ready for printing. You'll note that the checking account has already been selected. That is right here. And this is her check that is all ready to go. Now is when you're going to enter the check number. For the purpose of this exercise, we're going to say it's check 1023. Note that if you were printing multiple checks, this would be the first number. Then QBO would add the numbers sequentially based on the check number, based on the number of checks printed. So if you had two, you would start with the 1023, which is what we're going to add right here. So go ahead and click in that box, type 1023. If you had two checks, it would automatically know that this one would be 1023 and the next one would be 1024. Let's go ahead and click on print or preview and print. That is the green button down here on the bottom right corner. There we go. And now you can see how this one is going to print. In this screen, you can actually see what it will look like for her check specifically versus during that setup that we were going through in the earlier part of the exercise. It was just showing like a sample of what it would look like. So in a real life scenario, you would print the check at this point, but for the purposes of this exercise, we're just going to close the screen. So you can click on close down here on the bottom left corner. I know my screen is covering this, but there is a close. You can also click on the X up here. Next, QBO will check to make sure that your check or checks printed properly. This is important in case your printer ran out of ink or paper jammed, etc. We will assume that everything went completely smoothly, so we will just go ahead and click on the Done button, which is right here. And then we're just going to click on the X on the top right corner. And there you go. You have now entered bills, you have paid bills, and you have now gone through the process of what it would look like if you printed checks to pay those bills. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just click on the link below in the description. Be sure to leave this session of the sample company open for the last exercise in the cardio section, where we practice recording a bank deposit. And I will see you in the next video.